This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin, Jarrett, and Wes Kerr.
Hey, Justin, Jarrett, and Wes Kerr, along with Max Arraj with a Sunday night special LowcoSports Lowdown. No USCB Sandshark Rewind tonight because we're rolling it into the Lowdown. We got the final round suspended of the RBC Heritage. Unfortunately, we did not get to the finish line. Scotty Scheffler is well on his way to taking the tartan jacket home, but he's going to have to wait until tomorrow morning to get on the road. He's got 3 holes left to play and a 5-shot lead, so it's all but a foregone conclusion. But did not get it in today. We'll get into the nitty gritty of that momentarily with our golf analyst Ned Butch Mullis joining us for more RBC Heritage talk, and we'll have Brackin Lambert on a little bit later to talk about a thrilling walk-off win that you called, Wes, for the USCB Sandsharks. Were you there too, Max? Was it a double?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, all right. You guys were both on it. Got to play Snake Farm one last time and set themselves up to go win a series and get into the Peach Belt tournament next weekend. And that's really about all we have to talk about. Sandsharks will also talk about the golf teams, which women stayed steady and finished 4th. Men surged and tied for 3rd. So we'll get into that when Brackin comes on. But let's talk Heritage first. And we got our buddy Butch Mullis in the green room ready to join us for a little golf talk. And the talk is that we didn't finish. I mean, that's the big story. We said last night we were a little surprised that they went ahead and put out the regular tee times. And, my understanding is the meteorologist advised against that, said you won't finish it if you do that, and they did it anyway. So I understand they're gambling. You're dealing with a lot of money when you move out of that live broadcast window, as far as what you can charge going down the road, and they thought they had an opportunity with Scotty Scheffler, riding a heater and closing in on another win to draw a big audience in the live window. And the live window ended up being a whole lot of tape delayed footage, and they could have run tape delayed footage of the finished tournament. But alas, hindsight's 2020. They definitely heard about it on Twitter today.
Well, they got killed.
Yeah. So that is what it is. What do y'all boys want to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, just unfortunate to see that take place when you're given the notion by the meteorologist that we expect heavy rain and potential thunder showers to come in the late afternoon. And we have seen it before when the RBC Heritage said, all right, let's go 3 sums, tee half off at 10, half off at 1, and we'll finish it that way. But this time,
and I don't think they would have had to do both of those things. I think
they could have just went threesomes.
Yeah.
Either just going threesomes or just going pairs off both tees. Either one would have gotten the job done and gotten them done before. If you didn't get it in before the weather, you would have at least been able to get it in that last hour that they were, or 45 minutes that they were able to go out and play. So It's unfortunate, and I think it's a really tough spot for the tour because the optics are bad because it's the week after a major when a lot of guys ordinarily wouldn't be inclined to play, but you've made this elevated, so they're kind of compelled to play. And they've been looking forward to Sunday night for a little while now and getting home and getting to the family and sleeping in their own bed and all those things. And what is it, 8 or 10 guys that won't get to do that tonight, unfortunately. But, I think if they had it to do over, they'd do it a different way.
The tour's in a little bit of a transitional mode too. You got a lot of young new tour officials. You got those guys, and there's a vacuum in there when Slugger White and all those guys are retired.
Yep.
They'd have teed that thing off today a little earlier, I believe, if it had been those guys around. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong.
Right. Well, like I said, hindsight's 2020. It is what it is.
Hey, there have been several times where we have expected rain and we haven't gotten any.
It didn't happen.
So it's a calculated risk is basically what it comes down to. And this time they ended up losing.
To quote Ben Frazier, who's been there since the place opened in 1969 in golf course maintenance. When the clouds come from around the corner, you're going to get wet. So he means like coming from Savannah, and that's exactly where they came from.
Well, it sounded like the end of days in the media center for a little while.
Yeah, I mean you could, it's funny with the weather down there because you can kind of, even when we used to play at Spanish Wells all the time, you could see that weather coming and it would get right to Bull Island and stop. I mean, you just keep on playing. But if it was coming the other direction, if it's coming in, a little bit more
Around
south,
the corner,
it could get you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we were supposed to start at 6. That was the first advisory that, all right, we're starting back at 6 o'clock. And then the next notification said, well, we're not starting at 6. And there was good reason because the rain just kept coming. And they brought some of these players out to practice. And
I think they had a lightning strike.
And there was water on some of the greens. And you mentioned potential lightning as well. So there's no way they were getting back there at 6 and just unfortunately ran out of daylight there at the end. So it'll be basically a coronation tomorrow with Scotty Scheffler finishing off his sensational tournament. I guess the one dramatic thing is where is he going to finish? 20 under is the second best mark, tied with Brian Gay. Or Brian Gay is right there at second, and the asterisk of Webb Simpson at 22 under with the June Heritage. But I guess we don't count that. But I mean, to get to potentially a better score than 20 under par would be really rarefied air for a normal April RBC Heritage. So I think there's a storyline there where he'll finish, but I mean, there's no way he is going to let this one slip.
It kind of leads into a question I got. If you're Wyndham Clark, are you still in town?
Oh man, that's a great question.
That was a good question.
Cantlay still one hole to
probably
go.
Not.
And I got another question. Why did Cantlay hit that shot in that wind?
Yeah, I saw that shot. I have no idea why.
I kind of thought the only reason he was hitting it is he was going to leave. Because it's going to be dead calm at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I was there right before. I was there to watch him hit that shot, and I was like, "Why? What was the point of that?"
So you're telling me he didn't have to hit that shot?
No.
I was driving home at this time, but he didn't have to hit this shot. He could have waited till 8 o'clock in the morning.
The only way you hit that shot is if you're planning on finishing and hitting the road.
Correct.
Yeah.
But then he hit it down there, and
I'll tell you what though.
And he's like, "Oh, I better think about this."
that was some par save at the end, and on 15, I got to watch that last hole right before they blew the air horn and called it for darkness on 15.
How dark was it? Was it dark enough to shut it down, or?
I mean, it was sunsets like 7:50. They theoretically could have played like one. I mean, I thought the way that Scheffler was speeding through 12-13 that you never know. Obviously, there's some guys in front of him that might be going slower, but Scheffler, I would be surprised if he really wanted to finish and get this one over with and get home with that tartan jacket. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do that. But I mean, you just look at what he did in that 1 hour period between the resumption and the suspension for darkness. Another beautiful shot on 13, making birdie there, and then a couple of big pars on 14 and 15 to really erase any shadow of a doubt that he's going to let this one slip. And so, I mean, 20 under par. Just not just taking care of business on Sunday, but doing it in style. The eagle on 2 to start off this round. Birdie continues to absolutely demolish the par 5. So he parred the 15th, and he'll take that because he was in a tough situation there. But just, I mean, blowing this course out of the water. And the fact that he still hasn't made a bogey, it's the third hole of round one.
That was the
that is
first
incredible.
5 he had made in 30-some holes.
Oh yeah. Well, probably since the
double, I guess.
He made a 6 on 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
On Thursday.
And hadn't made a 5 since.
That's outrageous. I think he did. Oh, he did. He made a 5 on 15 actually on Thursday, because he was 1 over until he birdied 16 on Thursday. That's when he got back to even, and he's played it in 20 under since then.
Yeah. Yeah, he doubled
outrageous.
doubled 3 on round one.
Yeah.
And that was, that was the extent of the emotional hangover from the Masters, because he birdied 2 before that. So I mean,
right.
And he wasn't even playing.
Well, and this was a bad luck double too. He got a bad lie on the edge of the bunker here and had to chunk it out, and then chipped it up and missed the putt. So
and three's hard.
And that gave him the red ass, and then it was all over for everybody.
That's a hard golf.
Yeah.
I tell you what it did. I think it woke him up.
Exactly right. I mean, he straight up said on Thursday, I was still kind of sleeping out there. I wasn't locked in yet. And that did. And then it took him a few holes to sort of get steadied. And then, man, he came on Friday with a purpose, and not to be denied. So,
hey, Wes, you were out there. How much did the temperature change?
Oh my goodness.
It was a incredible difference. It was chilly out there when you got back out there after the long delay. It was noticeably 10 degrees or more colder than it was, maybe more than that. It was
it dropped down to 65 or less, and it was a wet cold.
Right.
It was frigid in the media room when it came back wet. I can tell you that, because there's nothing but air pumping in there. And so I had a little hypothermia by the time I got on the shuttle back to the car.
I was shaking, man.
Well, Max texts me and says, "Wonder if I can get a ticket to the Heritage." And I say, "It's fixing to rain. You might be better off watching the broadcast." He said, "I'm already on the bus." And then he got there just about when it started pouring.
That was a bad move on my part, but you know what? I got to see a little bit of golf, but even then, by the time I got to the bus, I was wearing a trash bag to stop me from getting wet. So I mean,
I wished I had a
you
trash
just don't
bag.
know. You just never know with Hilton Head and the weather.
Don't.
Yeah,
I've seen storms that just pass completely by and do nothing. You just never know in Hilton Head, because I remember there have been forecasts of rain in recent tournaments where it hasn't done much at all, and this time it did.
Yeah, but they've been talking about this one since Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, my understanding it was a pretty clear call from the meteorologist.
The other thing
somebody above him made a decision.
I guess I understand us trying to get it done before the darkness came through tonight. That
was 100% about trying to get as many people on planes as possible. That's 100% what that was about.
Yeah, that's what it was about. And at first I kind of wondered why not just finish it on Monday, and then I realized there are a lot of people here who came in from out of town to watch this. They're probably all leaving first thing Monday morning. So
well, they'll all be gone. That was more about getting players on planes.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
They got 8 or 10 more guys on planes tonight than they would have if they didn't come back at 7.
How many guys are still on the course? There shouldn't be too many left.
And either 8 or 10.
The traveling road show's got to go to New Orleans.
Right.
New Orleans,
going up to Charlotte or nowhere. It's a pretty good ride.
They got to pack up the Carnival and take it to Zurich.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no doubt. This throws off everybody's timeline. Nobody wants a Monday finish. So they clearly thought they could get it in. They believed they could get it in based on the information they had, and they tried. But mistakes were made. And what do we tell our players, Mullis? You got to learn from your mistakes. Mistakes are fine. You're going to make mistakes, but you got to learn from them. So
If you're gonna
I
mess
guess
it up,
that's our advice for the PGA Tour.
if you're gonna mess it up fast. If you're gonna do it fast.
Believe I think we talked about this. It won't be open to the public tomorrow.
Right. So I was just going to mention that. I had heard, in 2017 or 2007, sorry, I keep doing that, thinking it's a decade earlier than it is. Boo Weekly, the wind year, 2006, 2007, whatever year that was, the last Monday finish. It was an 18-hole deal, and they let everybody come out. It was open to the public. And I heard them talking about that tonight, but then when they went back out and played and saw the condition of the course and they only had 3 holes left, it was phrased to me that the decision was made that for safety concerns and the limited play time that fans would not be permitted. So it'll be credentialed person going.
I think I have another answer for that if you would like an opinion page of this.
Sure. I would love that.
What's you want to bet tee times are going off that place tomorrow morning about 8 o'clock?
Oh, I agree.
Well, probably not at 8 o'clock because that's when the well, actually, yeah, they could start at 8 while the guys are finishing up on the backside. I reckon.
Absolutely, they could. I ain't not a conspiracy theorist, but
and if I understand how this thing works, those are probably the highest dollar tee times they'll get all year, right?
Well, no, I think tomorrow is more of a sponsor day. It's like Coca-Cola.
Okay. Well, no, like the Masters does, like the Monday. They have a lottery.
They do the media lottery thing at the Masters.
Yeah, because the volunteer thing for the Masters is like the last week of, like right when they're getting ready.
Tomorrow, you're right. It's all the people who brought in hospitality take their guys out to play tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's definitely a consideration. Consideration.
I would think that would be part of it.
But I will confirm. I do know that the discussion was being had when play was initially suspended. That if they didn't play anymore, the plan was at that time open to the public, but no transportation. But then when they got back out and saw the condition of the course and the limited number of holes left to be played, the
places think about what you're trying to do there. You don't have the same, you don't have the stable shut down. You don't have prep shut down. There's really, you don't
have security.
How many buses are in the contract?
Yeah, which they had already said, like they're not going to do transportation. So that's already done. But like security, you'd have to keep extra security around, more extra security if you're allowing fans.
And that thing will be done by what, 9 o'clock, 8:50?
If they go off at 8, they only got 3 holes left.
16, 17, 18. That's 10 minutes a hole.
Yeah, probably 8:45, 8:50. So it shouldn't be too long before they wrap it up.
I suspect they'll get through there pretty quick. Now there's going to be some very expensive shots hit tomorrow and putts made or missed tomorrow. That's for sure. Talking about big bucks on the line.
Look at Justin Thomas, the money he made today.
Oh goodness! Or Brian Harmon
and Wyndham Clark.
Yeah, he could have made a lot more if he didn't. Block one of the trees.
The normal tour event, you watching things, and it's a $200,000 putt or something like that. Man, you're talking about $1 million putts for like 5th or 6th this week.
I'm about to pull up the tie table so we can take a look at that. Because
that was what I was thinking about with Cantley today. I couldn't believe he hit that shot.
Yeah. So you get 3.6 mil for first. So if one of these guys gets to solo second, it's a $800,000 difference between third. So what have we got right now as far as the leaderboard goes? We got several guys tied for second, right?
Yeah, Wyndham Clark is in the clubhouse at
4 guys tied for second. So their share right now would be 1.32 which is even less than what a solo third would be. So 1.32 right now for those guys. But if one of them can take solo second, they're going to make an extra $840,000.
That's a pressure putt if you find that in front
And
of you
that's
on
a
18.
pressure punt for two of them because that caddy's getting 110,000.
Right.
That's right. He's invested in that read. Let me
He
tell
is
you.
invested. He surely is.
And yeah, so then you got guys tied at sixth. 3 guys tied for sixth are currently getting 670,000. But if you can get to solo fifth, you earn an extra 130.
What's dead last page?
Dead last. That's a good question. $41,000.
Nice.
Nice work
God,
if you can get it. Nick Dunlap. Kevin Kisner taking home $41,400 for his services this week.
What does Kiz say all the time? They pay pretty good for 20th.
What's the other thing he says? Ain't no hobby.
Ain't no hobby.
Yeah, it's nice work if you can get it. These guys definitely put in a lot of work, but they are paid handsomely for their troubles. Yeah, that's pretty enlightening when you look at the difference between a 4-way tie for second and a solo second. What's that? 3.6, same as the Masters.
Ooh.
Even money, baby.
Ooh.
So that'd be 7.2 over the fortnight.
2 weeks.
That's 700,000
Good Lord.
2 weeks.
Ted's got it.
And he's made even more money before the Masters too. So I mean, think how much money you'll be making as of Sunday.
Oh boy, Teddy's going to a different tax bracket.
Scotty was just north of 15 mil for the season in 9 events coming into this week. So
that's 1.5 any way you cut it.
Yeah.
And that's, a lot of those guys.
This will put him to 18.6. Pretty
Boy,
solid.
his caddy is raking money in, man.
And a lot of those guys are more than,
There's the kids quote for you. Scared money don't make money. Well, no fear from Scotty Scheffler, that's for sure. That dude is absolute competitor. Absolute competitor.
That putt, that was sheer. I'm not making a bogey.
No.
That was all that was. It didn't have anything to do with the money. It didn't have anything to do with the lead. It was that guy just grinding out a par. And
yep, that's absolutely right.
And he was, and you could just see he was mad. He got a mud ball and he was hot.
Yep.
And
that's what I've seen out of him is, and again, like I don't follow golf on a week-to-week basis necessarily. The majors and the Heritage and a couple here and there if I have the weekend off from baseball or whatever. But watching him over the last couple of weeks, to me, it's just pure competitor. And we talked last night about he played a bunch of sports growing up: football, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, golf. And he has said this week, like when people are talking to him about after the baby comes, and he said, like, look, like golf's already not my top priority. I just love to compete and hate to lose. And you can really see that like coming through, like you said, when he gets a mud ball and finds the water, like it was pure will and just determination. Like this ain't happening. What? I'm going to make par anyway.
I don't care if it's a dart.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make it anyway.
I'll break Webb Simpson's asterisk record in the dark. Bring it on.
But we talked about when those guys start dropping around him. They did.
They did.
Yep.
They wilted. I mean, Clark got within one. But even then, like every time somebody made a charge, they started to make a charge, and then as soon as he teed off and he made a couple birdies, they faded away.
Straka finished second in the Open last year. He's a good player. He he didn't even look like the same guy today.
No, they wilted.
I mean, all of them at the top of the leaderboard. They know he's not coming back, so they're all trying to go make something happen.
Yep.
And
it felt very Tiger-esque. It felt like once he teed off and made a birdie, it was over.
Yeah, I mean that's not really their game. You know, like Morikawa and them, they're not out there going flag hunting all the time. They're just hitting it to the middle of the green and working their way around. He's forcing those guys into something they don't like to do.
That's right.
And that's be uber aggressive. And, you know, that's kind of what Tiger used to do. He's just doing it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger putted you to death. This guy just hits it to 10 feet all day.
The approach shots, I mean, just immaculate. And he did it again today multiple times. It just, and even when he feels like it is going to drop a shot, he somehow gets out of it and saves a par. It's just incredible.
He's an underrated scrambler. He doesn't have to scramble very often, so
but when he does,
notice it. But he's underrated. He's pretty good at it.
What did you
He's not guaranteed to win though. Data Golf only has him at 99.8%.
So you're saying that
Sahith Theegala still has a 0.2% chance. So you're telling me there's a chance.
Because they still have
there's not a chance. Sorry.
To play. So it's
Did you hear what they said about his swing coach today?
About
before the weather came in, they said the worse the weather, the better he is.
Yeah,
that's true.
I believe that because I think he's so ultra focused on the task at hand that the more challenging it is, the more focused he is, and it's like it unlocks another level of his superpowers. I think he might be a Terminator who was reprogrammed for golf.
Well, and y'all think about how this whole thing started. You remember the Whistling Straits Ryder Cup?
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody was pissed when Stricker took this guy. He was a captain's pick for that Ryder Cup. And Stricker did everything right in that Ryder Cup. I mean, that was the best Ryder Cup Americans probably have ever had. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if you can have a better one. But he took Scotty as a captain's pick. And I remember him talking about it. You know, he killed it that week. He had a great week. And they were like, this is the kind of stuff that propels you into winning majors. And look what he's done after that. And he wins the Masters, 3 months later? You know, he does. He just gets in there, you know, or 6 months later. But, you know, I think that, you know, busting through on that stage is what, you know, kind of propelled him into a little bit of this. And he hasn't slowed down since.
He's on an absolute heater now. The only thing that's going to slow him down is daddy duty. He's got to go home. Now, the other thing, the only thing that could have made today worse for the PGA Tour is if Meredith goes into labor tonight or tomorrow morning.
Oh,
and that would be a disaster. But
that's where you wish
chaos it would create.
That's where you wish.
He was Drew. You got a 4-way tie for first, and Patrick Cantlay's on the 18th green, wondering why he hit that shot last night.
Absolutely. Or you wish you'd have took that bet tonight with DraftKings on a 0.4% chance.
Yeah. Put $2,000 on Theegala.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if she went into labor that morning? He's like, all right, let me finish these 3 holes in 15 minutes and I'll get the hell out of here.
That would be the fastest 3 holes of golf in the history of the PGA Tour.
What did they say? I heard them talking about on the radio today. They were like, yeah, what if the call comes through and somebody said, well, when she sees he's getting ready to win another $4 million, that call ain't coming through.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Even if she started going into labor, $3.6 million for 30 minutes of his time in the morning. I mean, you can hire a videographer or something. You can Facebook Live him, or FaceTime him from the golf course and let him watch it while he wins that 3.6
I
mil.
remember I was at God, this is a long time ago, but we were at Pinehurst, and it was back in the day of pagers, and Mickelson had a pager on because he was gonna maybe leave because his wife was due. Like that, but that's how much it's changed now.
Yeah.
He was wearing a pager out there that during the tournament.
I'll see you on FaceTime later.
Yeah. Well, so we'll reconvene at 8 a.m. tomorrow at Harbortown and finish it off. But Scheffler is absolutely in command, and it would take some kind of craziness for him to not win this thing, a 0.2% chance. So we'll keep you posted out there. Since the fans aren't allowed, we'll definitely try to keep you posted. I'll be out there, planning to be out there as soon as they get going, and stick around for the festivities and the post-round interview.
Gives the maintenance guys are not happy either because it's another 4:30 start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. And they're going to have a tough job in the morning too, because it won't be routine. There's going to be a lot of.
It's just those 4 holes.
Yeah, that's true. Well, unless they have important tee times at 8 a.m.
They usually don't even mow the following Monday. It's usually right there. I mean, it's usually they leave the pins the same because everybody wants to play same pins, pin positions. They
probably have some bunker work and stuff to do, though, right?
I don't know. Those bunkers don't wash a whole lot. I mean, they'll rake them in the morning, but I think they'll just do those. I think they'll just really address those 4 holes and make sure there's no water and stuff. Because they still have to play regardless of what happens tonight. It didn't matter if you got another 2 inches of rain tonight. You couldn't play lift, clean, and place tomorrow.
Right. Because you started the round.
You started the round the way
you got to finish.
Yep.
That's a good point.
So it doesn't matter how much water you got tonight. You were going to have to dress it in the morning.
Absolutely.
Oof. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Jonathan Wright and company. Jonathan Wright is a superstar at what he does and how he tends this course, and the guys who work with him, they do an awesome job every year.
Yeah, he's
the best in the business.
Y'all, you guys, he's a better person.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a phenomenal superintendent, but he is a good dude.
Yeah.
And UK guy.
Well, I think you can say that about just about all of the folks involved with Harbortown and the Heritage. I mean, John Farrell falls into that category. And Steve Wilmot, he's a great tournament director, but he's a better person, no question.
That's exactly right.
And there's Angela McSwain, and down the line, it's
no secret why that thing's so successful.
Carol Bartholomew as well in the media.
The best. Love her.
And if you listen to the tour people, they all say that. They tell you every week. Listen to Jim Nance and those guys every week. Do you ever hear them talk about guys like they talk about them here? You don't.
No.
And I mean, they'll give a mention, but they don't talk about them like they talk about them here.
Well, for one, I think a lot of those positions are kind of revolving doors of people who are looking for the next step up the ladder. And this place has never been that. All those people are lifers, and they're fully invested in this thing. Oh yeah, 100%. And there have been people who have moved on from a Heritage and taken jobs at bigger tournaments or bigger jobs at other tournaments or whatever. They've done a good job of cultivating folks for the industry like that too. But as far as like the top level people, I mean, you've had a lot of consistency and continuity over the years, and I think that lends to just kind of being good stewards for the event because they're so wrapped up in it, so synonymous with it, and it's so entwined in our community as well.
Did y'all see the subtle difference of what you normally get from normal rank and file Heritage in this one?
Yeah, I noticed a lot of differences, but what's that?
Extra about 1.5 feet on green speed. Watching them greens turn brown. You usually don't get the tournament brown look on the Heritage.
Yeah.
You know, those greens were baked out and hard, and you know, I know that what they say they stamped this morning 13.5, something like that.
Woo.
I mean,
that's real fast.
That's
I was going to say that
that's
they
fast.
usually run like 12 or something.
Well, they usually. I told you there's a PGA Tour agronomist that goes around with a moisture meter, and you are going to water that green till that thing hits that number. And I think that these elevated events have a different number.
Yeah.
And I mean, so just because those greens look a little brown on TV, that is a planned brown. Those things are fast.
It's much better than an unplanned brown. You never want an unplanned brown.
No, anytime you see these tournaments, when they get that tournament brown look going, it's going to be real. That's
It'll be green. It'll probably be green tomorrow.
That's the only defense to these guys.
Yeah, it is.
Make the greens rock hard and hope the wind blows.
Yeah. Otherwise, they just throw darts all day.
I mean, they're too good.
And Scheffler still shot 20 under and still has 3 holes to play.
They're too good.
In the morning when it's calm, like he's got a couple birdies sitting out there for him.
You think about, and we were talking about.
Is there a chance?
We were talking about earlier today about how much golf's changed.
Yep.
Used to be only John Daly for years could get on 15. And he was about 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would try it, and hell, half the time he'd make it, half the time he'd hit, you know, the stand. But they didn't even try. And, you know, the one hole that hadn't been backed up a whole lot's 15.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah. And, you know.
It's already in, like,
so you're looking
backyard.
at basically the same golf that they played 20 years ago, you know, on 15. And damn, 3/4 of the field goes for that thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not automatic. If you hit it in the right spot off the tee, it's like automatic for him now. The only reason you don't is because you don't like your angle going up over that tree.
And that those trees hadn't changed, and they ain't shrunk, and one didn't get hit by lightning or nothing.
No.
You know, I mean,
it's still towering. It's well placed, and they go up over that thing.
And it's the carry on the back end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're carrying the ball so much farther.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Well, hey boys, we got Brackin in the green room waiting to talk Sand Sharks, and we'll let you get out of here, Mullis. But
see y'all.
We'll talk Heritage again tomorrow night. Wrap it all up. But,
might have a shark. Might be able to talk about the Sharks too.
Yes, yeah. You want to join us tomorrow night?
All right, give me a holler. Thanks, guys.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Goodbye to Coach Mullis. Good talking Heritage with him. Let's shout out some sponsors, and then we'll get Brackin in here and talk a little Sand Sharks. MVP sponsors of LowcoSports. Start with my wife, Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of LowcoSports. She's with Keller Williams of the Lowcountry, and she'd love to help you find your place in the Lowco, or maybe upgrade to a better place in the Lowco. Get that house on the market. Start looking for the new spot, the dream home. Megan Jarrett can help you. She's the official realtor of LowcoSports, and my wife. And Homegrown Home Inspections is our official home inspector. They are the best in the biz when it comes to making sure you're making a great investment in the Lowco real estate market. Homegrown Home Inspections will make sure it's built right every step of the way. And if you're building a new home, you got to have that phased inspection so they can check on it throughout the build, make sure everything's looking good. At Homegrown Home Inspections, Mickelson Law Firm, official real estate closing attorney of LowcoSports, our original sponsor since 2017, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Christian Academy coverage. We love the Mickelson Law Firm. They've been supporting us since the beginning, so please support them with all your legal needs. And Hospice Care, the Lowcountry official hospice provider of LowcoSports, the only not-for-profit hospice in Southern Beaufort County. And we love everything they do over there. The great staff, just great people doing great things in our community. Support them with your charity dollars, because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Those are our MVP sponsors. And Now we welcome in Brackin Lambert to talk a little Sand Sharks in a walk-off dub for the baseball team today when it was not looking good getting late in the game, but they get her done.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably – I mean, we've seen some pretty good walk-offs off, the walk-off walk against Georgia Southwestern, and then Julian Galassi with a couple of walk-offs against Lander and also the Hurricanes. But there was just something about today. Starting 2 hours early.
Thanks for high.
And, I mean, yeah, it was kind of a win-win. Like you had to win or
must win or close
it's going
to
to be
it.
a tough.
It pretty much was.
No matter
then you would
what,
have to
to win two games at Aiken is going to be tough.
Yeah,
right.
But I mean,
The sweep would have been a huge ask because they could have gone all in on.
And you just needed a win this week. You didn't want to be swept against the Flagler team. You had to get one. You did not want to go into that series after being swept and having to sweep another team. So this was pretty much a must-win game, and certainly wasn't an adventure, but they got it done.
I mean, Nico Andre, take it away. You want to show the walk-off?
Yes, indeed.
Please do.
Here it is.
That was a hanging slider, too.
On its way home.
Wes Kerr and Max Arraj on the
smacked
call.
over into right field into the gap. Here comes the tight run, and Kirkland Robinson coming around to score. The Sand Sharks have won it.
Whew.
I mean, I'll tell you what, I was
you
on.
Hear the echo of the Hardyville press box in that call.
Yeah.
And Max Arraj doing his best Harry Carey impression with the "Holy cow!"
Holy cow!
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Shark sweat.
I was like, I didn't even put the last input in until 5 minutes after, because I called, Nico Andre with the walk-off, 3-run double and, our closing. And I was like, Snake Farm, let's go, Snake Farm. It had been a while since we had heard it. So, I got some great pictures.
That was a great picture.
And it was, I mean, I think the story of the game is you're going to look at your two guys first on the bump is going to be Tucker Dove was perfect through 2 innings and then ran into a little bit of trouble, allowed his first hit, and then just got kind of hit a little bit hard, but worked out of the inning. And then JP came in relief in the 4th inning. But how
about Aiden Cooper picking up the win with the clean 9th?
Yeah, he pitched well, and that was needed for Coop. He needed that. It'd been I don't want to say it's a struggle, but he got hit hard a little bit for a few games after being really, really good. But I mean, injuries are killing us right now. You lose Ian Barnes for the season. You lose Aiden Cooper, or you lose not Aiden Cooper, Aiden Driscoll-Sadusky yesterday, getting hit by a pitch. Julian Galassi got hit today. That's going to be a tough one too. So it was definitely a
all hands on deck.
Well, we're going into this weekend bruised and battered, and it's gonna take all
man up, baby.
Yep.
Next man up.
I mean, I'm gonna give some love out to my boy Tucker Dove. He just came up and gave me a big hug afterwards, and he's like, "I wish I could have gone more." I said, "Dude, you pitched what you did what you needed to do." And then JP, man, like he's always said it's two sides of the coin with JP. He's either lights out as a starter, and then he's a little bit rocky, but then there's sometimes where he just he flips the switch and he pitched great, a brilliant 4 innings, allowed only 1 run that was unearned. I mean, just a great day to end the season. Winning streak at home. That's
home season.
Yeah, your home season. Yeah. So that was
another 2 hits for Meyer.
Yeah.
Meyer's on fire.
Yeah.
Meyer's on fire.
He added to his all-time stolen base record. He's at 55 now.
Incredible.
And his total bases, I got to calculate those, but I mean, he's in the top 5 in a lot of those categories, doubles, triples, total bases. So
11 for 19 during 5-game hitting streak.
yeah, I mean,
That
he's
is stellar.
yeah. Wow. And he got hit too this weekend, and he took one right off the barrel or right off the hand. So
He's tough. He can handle
yeah,
it.
he'll be all right. But
Warrior, as they called him on the broadcast today. But yeah, way to finish this series strong. What was it like 8? He had
It was 8 to 4.
7.
Yeah,
that's
5-run 9th inning.
yeah.
Yep.
But and the thing is like that first batter of the 9th inning. I'd have to look at the play-by-play to see who it was, but it was the first pitch out, and so you're like, oh, okay, and then you get 4 straight singles. I mean, literally just like right up the middle.
Bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang,
So Weathers flew out to center.
First pitch,
And
first
then
pitch.
you had Galassi singled, Kennedy singled, Cromer singled, RBI, Kirkland singled.
Yeah,
Loaded
they
the
hit him
bases.
in the right. They hit him in
Robinson
just the
walked
right
in a
spots
run,
too.
and then Nico cleared him off.
Yeah, like we were up there, and we were like, oh, Nico's on deck, and I thought it was a great move because Nico's bat's left-handed. You get the good, righty on lefty, and those
Great
first
call by
pitches,
Falk.
Clearly, it was a great move.
yeah. But I mean, those first 2 pitches, he had not thrown his
Great
off
move if it works.
how do you say his name? Padilla, or I don't know. But he hadn't thrown any pitch.
Asante,
He didn't throw any pitch for a strike. I mean, like consistently in the early part of his outing, and then he threw 2 beautiful sliders to Nico to open the AB, and I was like, well, shoot, Nico, those are belt high, little what in the world? And then he threw a fastball high and outside, and I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, if he might be thinking fastball, let me throw my slider, get me backdoor slider, and he hung it belt high. And
it sounds like you're saying he kind of hung the first 2.
Yeah, I mean, the first.
But Nico's probably spitting on breaking ball until he gets 2 strikes. In that case, he's looking dead red until he gets to 2 strikes, and then he'll fight it off.
I mean, they were good pitches. Those were the 2 best pitches he threw.
They're get me over breakers. Just early in the count, you figure he's looking dead red. You steal one, and then you're like, I wonder if I can steal another one. So you steal another one, and you're up 0-2, and then you try to blow a fastball by him up. I like that approach. But I like that Nico just spit on him and was like, no, you're going to have to throw me a fastball. Or if you throw me that again with 2 strikes, then I'll just sit back and drive it in the gap.
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
Great at bat.
I think it also sets up the the prior AB with Robinson. Robinson worked a 9-pitch walk.
Oh, yeah.
Worked it back. He was down 1-2 off a couple of foul balls, fouled off a couple pitches, worked it full. And then he got the RBI walk, and
that was a tremendous at bat there. Appearance by Robinson to set it up, and then Nico Andre, you said, finished it off. But everybody had to do their job, and that is something that I've seen not just this year, but a couple of Ted Faulkner coach teams that just know how to fight and battle when they're behind. I remember it happened. It was right before in his first season. Something similar happened where they overcame a big deficit, and some of these guys were freshmen when that happened, so they saw it take place. And now, these seniors are some of these seniors, but like Galassi wasn't there yet. But just the culture that Faulkner's instilled. Some of these guys were around it, some of them weren't. But even if they weren't, you're still around the leaders like Brian Meyer. Like, let's go, guys. Let's do this. And sure enough, they did. And just
senior Brian Meyer. That's what they
call
it.
They can, hopefully they can carry that momentum through this time, because we felt this way after the Georgia Southern double walk-off too, and then it was tough sledding for a while after that.
Yeah, well, hopefully they come out a little bit hot. They're not having to play. They are playing a doubleheader on Saturday, so schedule change. The seniors are going to get to walk Friday night, and then they'll play a doubleheader.
Are they still playing Wednesday at Pembroke?
They're playing Wednesday at Pembroke, just to get some live ABs, and hopefully that'll give some guys an extra few days to rest up. and really pull it out for this weekend. I mean, you can win it on Saturday, and then you could, just go. You could go Johnny Holstaff and just play for the win, but where you're going to be in the standings. You're going to play.
I mean, it's basically a playoff series in the last week. Like
I mean, it's the play-in series.
It's a play-in series, exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's literally what it is, and then you're going to get Lander, who you already you can beat. I mean, you can beat every single team in here. That's the truth of it.
It's baseball, so yeah, pretty much. I mean, you beat Lander once in 11 innings.
Beaten Georgia Southwestern. You've beaten. It just. The one thing we talked about the last couple nights from their first two games was how they capitalized when there were runners in scoring position, and they didn't do it. They didn't do terrible in the first game. I mean, they scored 6 runs, and they didn't do terrible with that. Second game, they just couldn't find a way to score a run. This game was different for me because I looked at that game and they found every way possible to get a runner on base, get a runner in scoring position. And then when they had that runner in scoring position, they found multiple different ways to walk or hit in runners. Yep. And I was like, that's what I need to see out of USCB, especially if, you're going against a USC Aiken team, not an easy team to beat, at Aiken too. And that's not an easy place to play either. So, I mean, the way USCB played today, I really hope I can see more of that in this series against USC Aiken.
I mean, it's very encouraging. We talked about the day before is like, I need to see something tomorrow if we really think that this team has a chance of doing something into conference tournament. And, sometimes it just takes that one magical game to turn a season in the other direction. And maybe this is the case for USCB because you're riding the high. You have the emotional, positive charge now that, that you're coming off a big win. You're able to really pull one out of a hat, really, to score 5 in that last inning to win it. And now you just have the utmost confidence that, if we put it all together, we can beat any of these strong teams in the conference and we can hang with Aiken. Obviously going to be a very difficult task against an Aiken team that was close to taking the series against North Georgia, and that's a pretty solid North Georgia side. So it is going to be a heck of a test for USCB, but, the all-hands-on-deck approach that we saw today with a new look infield that was, a couple guys that we didn't see in games 1 or 2 that much. And what did they do? They found a way to get it done. And, that's great to see. Obviously,
we've seen them all season. Hudson Morgan came in and picked up some reps at short. Andrew Walters has been basically man in third base. Basically 3/4 of the season. He's kind of taken over that spot. And then Seth and ADS have kind of, split time there. Aiden started most of the season, and then Seth came in and got hot and played there for a few weeks. And then ADS came back in, picked it up, and then it's been kind of a all hands on deck.
Ride the hot hand.
Yep.
Yeah. The outfield's been pretty consistent all season with Hunter and Wright, Galassi in center, and then you kind of have Weathers and Leland platooning out there. But it's gonna be a wild ride. Pembroke's a great game to kind of use as a tune-up. The pitching staff I already know that Ted's going to just throw everybody that day.
Right.
Just get one inning and get some live work day. That's what they've been doing on Wednesdays, is doing inter squads. So
the tournament is two double elimination brackets, like the College World Series. So it'll be Lander, the 8 seed, and Georgia Southwestern and Columbus State, it looks like, will be in one pod together. So that's, if you could somehow knock off Lander, then you're facing either Georgia Southwestern or Columbus State. Yeah. And with a chance to get into the good spot.
I've seen some crazy things happen in tournament.
Way crazier things have happened in college baseball last year.
Yes.
It's any given day. So
Especially when
Hats
like
off
the
to
top
hats
seed
off
like
to this
gets
team.
cocky and tries
Hats off
to
to Matt
push off or
Cromer.
something.
What a job that he did. Pinch hit. I don't care who you are. That is a tough situation with basically your season on the line, and your coach calls on you to come up and provide a hit. And he doesn't just do that, but he wins the game. He clears the bases.
Wait,
I mean,
Nico
what a
Andre.
job
You mean
by
Nico.
Nico Andre.
Nico, not Matt.
You
Nico.
said
Not
Matt
Matt.
Cromer, but you meant Nico Andre.
Nico Andre, yeah. But
Well-
Cromer also doing a job and helping set it up. I mean, it took everybody, but Nico provided that finishing blow. But I mean, tremendous job. Seth Robinson stood out with that bases loaded RBI walk, and then Andre doing the rest. But I mean, just tremendous effort from everybody. And you just go back to the beginning of this game, and a solid start from what we saw with Tucker Dove, and then just really cool to see all our local products who pitched for May River and now is coming back here, got honored as part of those 11 members of the class 2024 on senior day because Josh Patterson pitched so well today and really gave them a chance to find a way to come back. And it's just great to see him contribute in a game like this, to come back home and be a part of this program. It's just really special to me. And then, what we saw in the ninth inning with Cooper and the way he had, and Fitzgerald had the leadoff block. And it was like, oh boy, are they going to add on? Because they had a chance to add on to that 4-run lead.
Yeah.
And he stole second, and then he was able to get 3 straight outs. So, I mean, great job, good clutch pitching by Cooper, and then just the offense all coming together in the ninth inning to produce that 5 spot. You got to be proud of what this team did, Brackin, and I saw you celebrating after Andre hit that walk-off double, and just really, really cool to see that kind of excitement because it's been at points a tough year, but to see some of these miraculous victories, that's why you play. And really, that's what it's all about, to see that excitement when it all comes together like that. So, great way to cap off the home season here for not just baseball, but the USCB athletics in general, and a very memorable school year.
Yeah, it was great. I was like, play Snake Farm twice. Let's go. Let's get it. It was good to hear.
Yeah.
Kellen and Ellie and Emily were like, wait, why do we play it twice? I was like, we haven't heard it in a while. Let's play it again.
Run it back, baby. Run it back.
But yeah, the
Like a little Egypt. She works down at
On this
the
snake farm.
There it is.
we'll have to talk on the JJ. We'll have to try and get Guy on here and tell him on the rewind and ask him where Snake Farm. What
I can already tell you. I can already.
I know,
tell
but we
you.
need to hear. I want to hear it from him. Let him talk a little bit. Guy.
Don't just make up some story that's not true and make it more dramatic than it was, which was just that he stole it from Embry Riddle. That's all. Which
on
they
the other
stole
side
it
of
from somebody at the World Series. Like it was, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But I already loved that song before it became a thing at USCB. So I was like, what? This is a thing?
Yeah.
I love this song.
We got
like, you know this song? I'm like, of course I know this song.
We got a Snakeston championship belt that sits in the dugout with us, so it's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Replacing Uncle.
So softball season mathematically has ended.
Well,
after
they're
the loss
playing
yesterday.
tomorrow, right?
They play tomorrow. Yeah, they pick up game 2 tomorrow.
So their season hasn't mathematically ended.
Well, I mean,
Their season ended, hasn't ended, but
they've been mathematically eliminated from the postseason.
Yeah, there you go. Words are hard. It's
but golf was good.
Yeah,
golf did good.
Golf was terrific. I was sitting there paying attention to that a lot of during the game, and seniors Ashley Mead and Jessica Edwards, man, those two put together really strong rounds. Jess is one of our student workers, and she'll be my intern in the fall.
Nice.
So we were kind of talking a little bit about it this week, and I know I'm going to ask her about it later, but I know she was really hoping to shoot under par today. So not a bad. She's still. I mean, she was the rock all 3 rounds. She really killed it. Those 2 birdies there on 1 and 2. Tough stretch there from 4 to 8, but overall solid performance from these 2. Ashley Mead played out of her mind yesterday, shot 1 under after a really, really tough first round. But she birdied like 4 straight in round 2 on the back 9. So,
oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's Jess.
That's Jess. I just tried to click on round 2 for her.
You got to close Jess, I guess.
Maybe. It's not letting me select round 2 for her. It's just closing it.
Go back to the team leaderboard.
It might not be working because of
and go to click South Carolina Beaufort, and then click round 2.
2, yep.
There we go.
Oh, what a stretch there.
Oh yeah,
right there.
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Woo!
And then that's kind of Ashley's trend, though. She'll birdie like 4 or 5 in a row, and then she bogeys 1 or 2 right after.
Freaky.
But
the dudes made a real charge.
That was
after the first round.
Yeah, they were in 8th place.
After the first round.
After the first 2 rounds, and today
they were in 7th after the second round.
Yeah, 7th after
the first round.
And
3.
Ellis Bright, man. Ellis Bright, Nico Holm, and Eric Nord, dude. Eric had a quiet
snuck in with the top 10.
Yeah, a quiet tournament, but man, he was solid. That's a lot of red on that.
Ellis Bright was shining bright.
Yeah, he was. That's my man.
He killed
him.
Yeah, 4 under. He didn't shoot over par at all this weekend. Even 1 under, even par, and I believe that was right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, even par, 1 under, 3
and
under.
So
4 under, 4 under.
Yeah, I mean that was
smoking. Was that the round of the day? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the round of the day.
Yeah, round of the day.
So
he's a freshman too.
Yeah, he's
can play.
Age-wise, he's a sophomore. He took a gap year.
Yeah.
Right after, I guess, after university, is that what they call it in the UK?
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And then so he's age-wise, he's sophomore, but I mean, he's
ability-wise,
he's only a freshie. He and Nico, man, those guys are that young core. We got we got Alfie coming in. He's going to be. He knows Ellis knows him pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They played together over there in the UK. So I think the men's golf team's well in hand going into
absolutely
these next couple years. And I'm
well. Really, they have an that's right. They wouldn't have an opportunity for postseason play this year beyond this anyway. So but I would think that a top 3 finish in the Peach Belt most years probably puts you in the mix. I don't know how many teams get invited and how many at-larges there are and all that kind of stuff yet about D2 because it hasn't applied to USCB yet. But yeah, solid season for those guys.
One more year.
That's right.
Yeah.
One more year. Hopefully, assuming we get the
we get through.
As long as they show white smoke from the NCAA headquarters, there you go. Yeah, as long as we get the fireworks.
Yeah,
that's what we need from the NCAA.
And then track and field heads down to Daytona for a conference as well. So they're wrapping everything up, and the seasons it's been one heck of a year. So I'm looking forward to it. We're definitely gonna have to do some rewinds over the summer because we're definitely gonna have news. Soccer coach whenever that happens. Schedule releases, little short 30-minute episodes, and JJ, I still like your idea of doing a Garnet era where we just talk shop.
Flashback.
So
yeah, man. So let me shout out some sponsors. We can let you get out of here if you want to, Brackin, and we'll wrap things up. But appreciate you, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. See y'all later.
Talk to you tomorrow night.
See you, man.
Talk a little softball.
We'll talk a little softball tomorrow night.
All right, sounds good, buddy. Later.
All right, guys. Later.
Right. Brackin Lambert, USCB Athletics, joining us to talk Sand Sharks. Big win for baseball today. We're going to shout out varsity sponsors and the Lowco Booster Club real quick and bring this thing in for a landing because it's past bedtime. Varsity sponsors, DDS Web Design, builds, hosts, and maintains websites for businesses and nonprofits that get results. So if you need to get found online so you can do more and think bigger, go to ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group serves legal needs across Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties, and they're supporting us to help us continue to shine a light on more teams and athletes in that area so that we can celebrate them, the success, repping the Lowco. Reverence Wrestling Club, official wrestling sponsor of LowcoSports and the presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind. They had a great event this weekend. We'll have to see if we can get Coach Blake on to tell us more about it. The Reverence Iron Man, love what they're doing over there. Take your skills on the mat to the next level at Reverence Wrestling Club. And Dr. Ambrose Cole, official chiropractor of LowcoSports. He's at Rooted Living Wellness, and he'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. Those are our varsity sponsors. We've also got the Lowco Booster Club with Court Lifestyle Pros, Daniel and Debbie Court are Lowco natives who want to bring you home to Hilton Head Island. They're with Charter One Realty. Revive Rehab, Women's Health, and Pelvic Floor Physical Therapy. Dr. Allie and Dr. Jen are fantastic. And Eagle Creations has promotional items and custom apparel and all kinds of other stuff in their little showroom off Argent Boulevard. Jay's Barbershop, great place for a haircut or some spicy conversation in downtown Beaufort. And Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. Get your floors so clean, your feet will thank you. That's the Lowco Booster Club. Fellas, anybody you want to shout out tonight before we call tonight?
To go with the walk-off hero, Nico Andre, providing the heroics 3-run double to the gap. I mean, just a tremendous swing, and we've seen that from him throughout his career. Some moments of brilliance and what a way to come through in the clutch when his team needed to really keep their hopes of extending their season alive. So, excellent job by Nico, who, he's gone in and out of the lineup throughout his career, but he has had some memorable moments throughout it and none bigger than that one. So major props to Nico, but so many others that you could chat out for what this team did here today.
Absolutely. Max might shout one of them out. Who you got, Max?
I'm going to go with Josh Patterson.
Thought you might.
4 innings pitched, 1 run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Dude was the reason they stayed in this game.
Yep.
He held Flagler to the bare minimum, basically. Local talent here in the Lowcountry, Shark, now Sand Shark. And it was so great to see. And, he was on his A game today, and it was really great to see because that's what kept this Flagler team to the bare minimum, and what kept this USCB team in this game
And
to potentially
get
that walk off. Yeah,
Max, how fun did you have calling these baseball and softball games this year? You've had some good ones.
Oh man, it's been so much fun. I have enjoyed every minute of it, even when we lose big time. Sometimes that happens, but even through that, we always have some fun doing the broadcasts. So I've enjoyed every minute of doing it with you, Wes, and good Lord, I can't wait till next season. It's gonna be so much fun.
Right on, man. Well, I will, I'll shout out Ellis Bright for terrific finish at the Peach Belt Championships, finishing in the top 5 is big time. And you got to shout out Scotty Scheffler, right? Dude's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just they were making a move. They were coming, and it was like Moonlight Graham when he walks up to the edge of the field and he's like, "Oh, I can't go over there." As soon as Scotty teed off and made a birdie, it was like, "Oh."
And
He's gonna
the
play
crowd
good.
absolutely loves him. That
Yeah,
was
they do.
cool to see some of the very end of that period right before they called it for darkness, because those fans were getting hyped, and they were upset to not see it finish out. I'll tell you that much. But really
how were the
cool
crowds after the restart? Pretty good.
they were bigger than I thought.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't too
Obviously,
bad.
it wasn't as huge as earlier, or if it would be when it was
it
before
was
the rain. But
it was
still
a
a decent amount of people
massive
came back.
group of people when he made the turn. just a massive group.
Yeah.
But,
certainly not as big, but still a good amount of supporters there at the very end of the day.
It was
It was
also
definitely much easier to follow and watch him when he didn't have the huge crowds who all left
Right.
after the rain.
yeah, it was pretty wild that when he teed off, it was pretty crazy to see the how deep the people were stacked.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you a photo pulled up here just to show that I took. It's kind of fun. There we go. They were stacked up deep. You had umbrellas out and everything. Scotty's right in there in the middle somewhere, but people were all taking their pictures, and they were stacked up deep at the tee. So they love Scotty, despite him being kind of just
and he would be
ordinary
such an
guy
amazing
aside from
champion
his
for this
golf
event.
skills. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah. There's going to be a time this week maybe where we have to, maybe tomorrow night we discuss this, but like the best golfers who have won the Heritage or like the greatest Heritage champs. I mean, you still got to always put Davis Love number one because he's got 5. But like when you start getting past guys who have won multiples and getting into individuals, Scotty Scheffler, before it's all said and done, may be very high up on that list because you don't have a Tiger Woods or a Phil Mickelson on there. Like he's
Palmer,
on the trajectory right now that
you also have
special.
You also have Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson. I mean, there's a lot of players you could choose from.
Obviously, yeah. Well, and Watson has multiples, right? So like
we'll have to do our. I think you posed a similar question, but we have to name like our Heritage Mount Rushmore.
Right.
I think you posed it earlier, like just golf general, but we should do a Heritage Mount Rushmore.
Max said he heard that on the radio, and that was an interesting.
Yeah, they were talking.
I'm more interested in the Heritage Mount Rushmore than.
They were talking about it today, and I found it really funny because one of the guys mentioned Pete Dye on his Mount Rushmore.
Oh.
And I was like, really? I find that, and when you think about it, it makes sense because he's designed.
You gotta put him ahead of some people. Like, I mean, you gotta have Palmer, Nicklaus, like Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones was the other one.
You gotta have Bobby Jones on there.
He mentioned Bobby Jones. You got
so
Nicklaus.
Now you're talking about you got to put him on ahead of Tiger. And I don't think you can do that.
Well, he put him after
Tiger, right?
He put him after. He put him last on his list after Jones, Palmer, and Woods.
So he left Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, he left Jack Nicklaus. Still, though, I
think that's a hot take artist, is what you call that.
But it is a very interesting topic because everybody has their own opinion.
That's not a defensible position. I'm sorry, you can't put Pete Dye ahead of Jack Nicklaus.
I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying like everybody.
I'm just saying that person is a hot take artist. Whoever said that was trying to get a rise out of people. They do not believe. They don't actually believe that Pete Dye is on.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like everybody has their opinion on who should be on the golf Mount Rushmore. Everybody has
opinions.
But the Heritage Mount Rushmore, now that one I'm more interested in. Like
we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrestle with that one a little bit.
I would really like to discuss that one day. That would be so much. That would be a lot of fun.
We'll have to have some parameters. Are we only talking champions, or are we talking
or like contributors as well?
Then you got like Charles Fraser who's got to be on it, obviously. Yeah. And like that kind of changes the metric a little bit. Yeah, changes the metric a bit. But anyway, good talk, boys. Enjoyed it. Thanks to Ned Butch Mullis, our golf expert, for coming on and talking Heritage with us. Thanks to Brackin Lambert for jumping in with the Sandshark update, a little mini Sandshark rewind for you. And thanks to all of our sponsors who make it all possible. And thanks to you for showing up to listen or watch. Had a good time talking with you boys tonight. And let's do it again tomorrow night. What do you say about that?
Hey, we got some big high school sports coming up tomorrow too.
We do. We got a busy day tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. with the RBC Heritage 3-hole finale, 3-hole extravaganza. Patrick Henry at Hilton Prep baseball is pretty good. May River at James Island baseball is real good. Hanahan at Beaufort baseball is
Alton
real
County
good.
Bluffton, that's a huge one. I might be at that one over in Bluffton because both two teams are competing for that last spot potentially. So
That's
a
right.
huge,
Yeah, that
huge
is
game for
big.
both
That's a
Hilton Head,
good
Lucy
point.
Beckham.
Yeah.
Man, it's a full
What's
slate.
the other one?
tomorrow night.
I was looking at Colin Prep at Helmet Chris County. That could be an interesting game. But the one I'm looking at is let me see here. May River at James Island.
Yep.
That one
that's the big one.
That is a big one. And then you look on to Tuesday, the Bluffton Derby, round 2.
Right.
Bluffton at May River. I'm going to be there. I think Wes is going to be there. Hopefully,
I might,
Wes.
but I think it might be Connor Worrell. I might be. Yeah, I want to meet Connor Worrell. I haven't met him in person, so that might be.
I'm also gonna be there because James Island's playing at May River for baseball too that same night. So I'm gonna go and both.
I'm booked for rec softball Wednesday night, but should be out of there in time for May River baseball. Should check that out. Tomorrow we also have more golf. First round of the Skeeza State Tournament up at the Hackler course in Conway, and I suspect we'll have Hilton Head teams at the top of the leaderboard at that thing. They usually are. Hilton Head Christian, Hilton Head Prep are usually right there at the top. So yeah, we'll have much to talk about tomorrow night, gentlemen. We'll see you then. Thanks to everybody who came along for the ride tonight. For Wes Kerr and Max Arraj, I'm Justin Jarrett. Till tomorrow night, go Lowco, y'all.
The LowcoSports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Lowco.